for anyone else watching on YouTube right now, we're going to go through an audit and overview of Holly's website and just things that we could improve. And for anyone else building their own site, take it as you want, instill your own personality and, whatever else you feel is best for your business. But this is just kind of some general things that we can change up just to kind of improve SEO and the overall usability. But so when we start with the text, because we had talked about that, let's see here on mine it's on the 7.1. It's all the site styles are up here in the right hand corner. So Playfair is what I'm using for the main header. And the paragraphs is, Minion Pro. So the reason I chose this, now you can pair it up. You can do a serif, which has the edges, with a sans serif, which is like straight edges. But I've used a serif for both. Something that's clean that has a serif. Serif naturally makes it feel, if you look here, just a little more elevated, a little more eloquent. And so when you use something that has this sort of handwritten style, it is more approachable, but it depends on your brand. And if you want to, convey yourself as a higher end brand and your photos are really good. So I just think to the demographic you'll be speaking to, it just makes more sense to maybe change that up and make it a little more clean edge and legible. But again, your brand, so do as you wish. And then I would tighten up this header here, because it's a little hard to read and it kind of goes all over the place. And so with mine, I've kept it very simple. And you can see here, it's tight, small here. And and don't be afraid to go smaller. I know maybe as a default, we keep things larger because we think it can't be read, but the menu could definitely be smaller. This is an H1, or should be an H1. We'll get to that in a second. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. But anyways, so I would tighten this up. The fonts, again, maybe go with a serif or something that is a little more elevated, because we had discussed that. And then so here, when we're landing on your page, obviously I see that you do weddings, you do photography of some sort, but you definitely want to make use of this first heading here. And so when you're in it, so mine here, if you click on it, you'll see it's heading 1. Now you can change the sizes, but that doesn't really matter as much as the type. So, because Google's going to look at this and it's going to try to read what the site is about. And if your H1 is Come As You Are, that doesn't tell Google what the site is about. And so simple is nice and easy. Don't get too crazy with it. And what I mean by that is literally just go wedding videographer, wedding photographer, and then your city. So I'm in Lebanon, Ontario, hence why I put that. And then I put a little blurb underneath, nostalgic home video vibes with cinematic touches. So in an instant scan, you understand, okay, cool. So this guy's a wedding videographer, photographer. He's based in London, and this is his approach or style. And that's what I want them to see. Now I have a scrolling video in the background here, but that's totally optional. So I switch it up once in a while. Sometimes I like it static, sometimes I don't. And then for me, it goes right into kind of a little bit of a hook, I suppose. It's just the idea that, hey, the photos and videos are memorable and valuable moments and something worth investing in. And then I get further into what I think of it and my take on it and my approach. And so that's all in there. Leads into portfolio, put your best pieces and your best work forward first. And mine's a little different because my main business has been, I'll show you here. Sorry, I'll get out of this. My main business has been sort of divided. So initially was a lot of web design, photography, and videography content for small businesses. And then now it's slowly morphing. It's about 50-50 now, I would say, especially with the bookings for 2022 for weddings. So mainly wedding videography. So I'm at a weird cusp, kind of a weird crossroads in my biz. We'll see where that goes. I'll keep the other side going as far as small business stuff and still work with that. But, for now, paying the bills. So whatever comes in, I'll take. But definitely the video side of videography for weddings is definitely growing. And I'll tell you a bit about my approach and what I think is working for me at the end of this. But for now, I would say make that nice and easy so that they can see where they want to jump to nice and easily. Again, literally wedding photographer, your city, maybe a little bit like kind of like a tagline or some line that summarizes your approach would be great. And then maybe links to portfolio and that kind of thing if you want underneath. And so, yeah. And then this, again, you're going to play around with this. You can take a look, I guess. I'm not sure if it's going to tell me. I'm sure if I was quicker at code, I'd see it. But anyways, I just wanted to quickly see, but yeah. Anyways, just make sure that you only have one H1. So this should be an H1. Then anything else should be H2s, and then H3, etc., etc. So it's just the hierarchy of your titles, and then the rest of your paragraphs here. The one underneath in the main or hero image should be H1 P1, paragraph 1, and then H2 P2. And so just make sure that's what that is. And then from there, you can tweak the sizing. So I'd make this bigger. And again, when you get into sort of this handwritten font, it is tougher to read. So it's not as legible as I would like personally. But again, your brand. From there, yeah, good. The more about me, it's good. You've got the hi Holly there. Because I noticed when I mentioned before in the about page, I noticed you didn't have Holly, but I think you've made those changes, which is good. Yeah, see, all your photos are really, really good. So I think it's, yeah, the font would help elevate and match the photos. Like, look at this. It's like, yeah, awesome. Great work, Holly. So, yeah, if you're not getting bookings, I don't think your work is the issue. I think it's just getting found and networking and just word of mouth. You know, stick with it. I think it'll definitely come for you. So yeah, that's nice and easy. You can go there. From here, I don't know if, no, it's not clickable. Okay, so I would I'd play around with it. You know, maybe make your portfolio or your collections clickable and accessible right here, right now. So basically, it goes right to your portfolio, and your portfolio could have its own landing page with the different types. But yeah, allow me to click here in case I do scroll down. I don't have to go back up to here to jump to see more work. So that's one thing. And then, yeah, having form, that's totally fine. When I was talking about a shorter form, again, I was talking about Sabrina's because I think she had a lot more questions. And again, this is debatable. Some people are like, well, you know, if people don't take the time to fill out my form, then they're not my kind of, you know, my type of client, or they're not really interested. Yes and no. I think you can just make it simple. And I think from here, even this, you don't need really. What we're trying to do on the site is just say who we are, what we do, see our works. Does that look intriguing? And then cool, reach out to me and we'll have further conversations, right? Basically, you're just trying to qualify them. And, you know, if they like what they see, they'll reach out. And you want to lower the friction. So the more fields you add in here, the more things you make me do or they make me click to, the lower my chances of actually getting to you and actually reaching out. So here I would put just, yeah, first name, last name, number, email. I would probably take this out because once you chat with them, you can talk to them, and through that conversation, it's better to then discuss money and all that stuff. But right now it's just, you know, what are you looking for? And then let me know a bit about it. And yeah, that's fine. So that's good. Now let's go through and meet Holly. Good. I think you've changed some of this around, which is great. Yeah, and this is nice. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of people are too shy to put themselves out there or show their faces or their interest. But especially if you're a wedding photographer, you're your brand. So definitely do so. So this is awesome. You know, but about you, a bit about your approach, I think is always good. Now, I think this is always kind of a bit of a balance. Like, maybe you don't want to say too much about you because then, I don't know, maybe they misconstrue things or whatever, but the idea is just to give them enough about you. And then I think your approach is the most important thing, because people, couples want to know if your style or the way you shoot, you know, whether it be like you're in the mix a lot, or if you're kind of candid and kind of off on the you know, the sidelines. I think that makes a difference to couples depending on their personality types. But anyways, I think the more you can talk about your approach and the history of how you became or wanted to be a photographer, or what you enjoy about it, I think that all kind of plays into it. The other thing too is break up your text. So this might be relatively okay here on a desktop, but always double check things, right? So just take your browser, whether you grab your iPhone, I mean, that's probably the best. Grab your cell phone and check the site, but just quickly, you can always, preview in Squarespace, or if you're just on the site, just, crunch it down and see, hey, what does this look like in mobile? And to me, a mobile, this is a little long, so I would break this up. So just put some spacing between a few paragraphs, and that makes it a little more easy to read. So just a little quick tip there, and do that for obviously your other pages. I think I mentioned SEO for your main hero image. So those keywords being photographer, videographer, wedding photographer, videographer in whatever city, those words should be weaved into your site, so wherever it makes sense. So what I mean by keyword stuffing that I mentioned before, sorry to people watching YouTube, I'm kind of jumping back and forth between prior conversations, but when we do SEO, we want to see, pick the keywords that we want to rank for. Generally, wedding videography, wedding photography, our city. And so we take that, we make sure that it's in the header. We want to make sure that it's in our URL, so the slug here. And then we also want to, where it makes sense, and then fill out, the copy here and make sure that those keywords are incorporated, but we don't want to stuff. And what that means is, like, you don't want to just put every other second word or every other second, every sentence, wedding videographer, London, Ontario, wedding videographer, London, Ontario. Like, it has to be human. It has to be, read as you would normally read it. Otherwise, Google's going to penalize you for just throwing a bunch of keywords on there if it doesn't make sense. So semantics really plays a part, because the algorithm's gotten a lot smarter than it used to be. So yeah, just kind of talk about it. But like, let's say there was a moment where you say something about photography. If that sentence makes sense where you can put wedding photography in front of it, then do so. If it makes sense that you can sneak in the city that you're in, then do so, right? So just, just think of it like, remember when we used to write essays back in school, and it had to be like 1,000 words, so we put in filler words. So in essence, you're doing kind of the same thing, but it's got to be, a legible, readable format, so it doesn't look just weird that you just threw all these keywords in, right? So I mean, one could argue you could just do about, or you could do wedding videographer, your city, because I mean, it's a space that you could use it if you wanted to, and that helps you in the main in your URL here. And your portfolio, let's see, cool. So that's good. Just for me, as a usability thing that I'm noticing is, like, when I click portfolio, I see elopement or weddings, but you have two other options here. So for consistency, if these are all things you want to provide or services you want to provide, then I would add two more blocks and fill it out. So then it would include birth and fresh 48. Now, I don't know what all those mean just yet, so we'll jump in. So let's go to, let's say we go weddings, and I would keep it kind of consistent too. You have weddings first here, but wedding on the left there. That's just, again, I guess me being OCD. And so here is kind of a classic example of what most photographers do, but what would help you out is text. So Google and SEO, right? It's all just about talking to Google to say, hey, this is my site and this is what it's about. But if you have no text or limited text, Google can't see images the same way unless some of your images literally say, like, bridesmaids, wedding in whatever city you are, or, like, it has the keywords in the picture itself, which can be something you can do and might be good, because sometimes people may find you or stumble across you in Google image search. But yeah, so you notice you have a lot of images here, and it's great. It's a nice gallery. You just don't have any text on it. So if this is your wedding page, which here, we're landing on wedding. Okay. Oh, sorry. I was clicking. Oh, but your wedding goes to that. Okay, so maybe change that. Sorry. So your general click on portfolio takes you to your wedding page. Your wedding page, this is your wedding page. Gotcha. Okay. And you have a lot of that. Oh, okay. Now I get it. Okay, so portfolio should be these 4 categories in this order here. Weddings should then be weddings with a wedding title. And yeah, definitely see this kind of confuses me. It's all like It's very big and it's taking up a lot of real estate you don't need. So I would crunch that up. But yeah, so hopefully that makes sense. And then, so everything you're doing, so Ben Portraits should have a main header title, or even like main image that says portraits. And then same thing for birth. So keeping the same visual convention going along on each page so that it has a consistent style for you. Fresh 48. Oh, is that what it means? Sorry. Okay. So like newborns. Gotcha. So unless maybe, again, I'm new to this world. I haven't had my kiddo yet. My wife is pregnant right now. But so if that's a term that's normally used, that's okay. If you think people are searching that, if not, for keywords and for search, maybe just make it newborn. That might be something people would naturally search for. So that's the thing too. Like, as much as you know something because you're in an industry, always think, what do people call it? And you don't have to get fancy with it. Just, people are literally searching, hey, newborn photographer, your city. Then you're maybe best just make it newborn photography. Okay. And in line with that, you have Fresh 48 here, which is good. I think your weddings was not though. Yeah. So it should be wedding. And this is, oh, my mouse is jumping. Sorry about that. You should definitely make this one / your wedding page here should definitely be wedding photographer, your city. So if you notice mine, it's wedding videographer, photographer, London, Ontario. That's the basically the URL and the main title here. So yeah, okay. So that's a couple quick ways to do that. Now when we get into weddings and elopements, again, just talk about it, add some text in there, but context, so that Google looks at it and goes, cool, this is a wedding photographer's page. This is their gallery. They're showing some samples. If you don't know what kind of content to write, I think maybe an easy way to do it is by breaking it up, sort of in ways what you did here with portraits. Like, you've got them by couples. So this is really great. So imagine doing the same thing for your weddings. So that way, when you are on that main page, you click on a couple, and then here, this is where it'll take some time. But talk about the couple. Talk about just the shoot, the day. Hey, I got together here with, I believe it was Natalie and Bill. And we went downtown. We walked around in whatever city. That city, again, adds a keyword in there. An engagement shoot. Engagement shoot downtown, like that's all a keyword phrase. So you have to just keep thinking like what those main keywords for each page or each blog is, because then you can fit that in as you talk about it, right? And then that way, when someone looks up engagement photographer in whatever city, maybe this post will come up. Because that's the thing too. People think like, your service pages or your main home pages or those things are the ones that pop up on search. And sometimes they do, but likely it'll be more your portfolio pages. It'll be your blog posts. It'll be the answers to whatever people are asking for, right? So if they're searching for a photographer in a certain city, and this is your engagement photography session in that city, chances are this could pop up if you have enough context, enough copy on here. And then these images would all have some keywords in them. So that's basically the premise. You're kind of just doing that, copy and pasting that effort over and over on all your work here. So then, wherever, this location took place, maybe it's like a nice home engagement shoot, home couple shoot in whatever city, you know what I mean? And those are keywords. So it's like, or relaxed, couple shoot. That kind of stuff, natural couple shoot. These kind of keywords are just, again, you're just trying to you're making it up a little bit, but if you type it into Google, you can see what it auto-populates for you, and then you can fill that out. And that'll help you, come up with keywords and phrases. Now, the other thing too, when I'm looking at this, it's great that you have a lot of work, but also it could be a bit of, kind of the daunting scenario, or just sort of an options paradox. Like, I don't maybe need to see all of it, just a handful, maybe like six of your top ones, and you can rotate them, maybe change them out every so often. Or better yet, if you want to, keep them all because they're all really great works, just choose your top 6, have them in here, nice and large and, on display. And then in your blog, that's where you can go more detail. So then when you talk about these shoots, that's where you can add a lot more text and context into it, which is actually better, because then likely, because it has more text on that page, if I search for wedding, photographer or couples engagement photographer, whatever it may be, photographer, and it pertains to one of these shoots in your blog, because it has more text, hopefully Google will serve that up. And then from there, I'll go, oh, these images are really great. Who is this person? Oh, they're in my area. I'm getting married. I'm getting engaged, whatever, right? So people might not always land on your main pages, but your blog pages, hopefully if they have enough keywords and they're answering the questions people are searching for, that's where they'll end up. And then through that good work, through that instance, hopefully they'll look at your other work. So hopefully that makes sense. So that's it, right? So just, pare it down a little bit. I think with weddings, you kind of had, right. Oh, right. Okay. Sorry. Because you wanted to do more weddings. My apologies. So so the little bit here. So this is definitely it. So you put the title here, the wedding of so-and-so, and then definitely have text about the day, because I'm sure there's lots you can say about the day and the design and the emotions and the personalities and, just a little bit there, right? So that really helps. Birth, same thing. Here it would be, again, when you're running out of things to say, a good default is to think of like educational or things that people might not have known or considered in a certain scenario. So, for example, why would someone want a birth photographer? What does that give them? What does that mean to them? And then obviously getting testimonials, especially with this or any of your other work, adding testimonials on the site, adding testimonials. You should definitely create a Google My Business. So that way someone searches you, like if I go Tom Pixel, London, Ontario, it has your Google My Business here. And so, you should keep getting Google reviews. So after you work with someone, just go, hey, if you have a minute, can you quickly just, throw down a quick paragraph, let me, or just write down what you thought it was like working with me. I'd really appreciate it. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps the business. And so that's kind of generally what I do every time. And then that's it, right? And what that does too is also boost your SEO. So if someone's searching for your business or your, basically wedding photographers, this is in your case, Holly, the more, reviews you have, the chances are you'll rank organically higher than others. If, let's say, they have the same keywords, they have the same kind of information on their site, but you have better reviews, it's going to inch you up. So it's all the better. Newborns. So same thing, right? It's just get a good title here because you don't have any H1s. So like this, Google doesn't really know what this page is about, or any of your other pages, because it has no H1, has no header. So that header text is super important. Put that in there with good copy, with good text to have keywords. Okay. It's good. Yeah. Info on your holiday minis. Makes sense. Nice and easy. Invest. Now, invest here, I would keep, so you've got it kind of separate here. So basically anytime you can, or for me anyways, anytime I can cut down a click, I will. So you made me click here, and then I've got to click one of the two. So that's 2 clicks. It's like just invest, just go right to pricing. So it's one and the same. Because if I click on invest, I'm thinking pricing. On your investment page or your pricing page, definitely add in your reviews, but sprinkle your reviews all over. Have your wedding reviews for that couple in that section for that couple. The portrait, same thing. That couple should be saying something nice about you on that page, so on and so forth. And so you don't need a separate review here. And then take them, put some on the front page, put some, everywhere. You know what I mean? That's fine. But don't like make me click again. So that's like too many clicks. So just into pricing. And then from here, I would just put straight up, just again, because you have a full site dedicated to it. I only have one page dedicated to it. Here, your H1 would be wedding photography pricing, right? So that way, but and then put the city if you want. But wedding photography pricing, definitely. And so from there, starting at pricing, good. So now I'll quickly touch upon this because there's a couple different approaches. Some people don't put pricing at all. Some people put starting, which you have, and then some people put all their packages. So I think there's a fine balance, and I'm still testing it out myself. So far, putting the hours and packages have really worked for me. So that way it qualifies, hey, if this is not within your budget range, then, likely we're not going to be a match, and that's okay. Because otherwise, if you don't put any pricing, then you're going to get a ton of inquiries, and then you have to constantly just be like, oh, it's this price, or I got to send this PDF, or whatever it may be. And then maybe you don't hear, and then you got to sell. Whereas most of mine, like, they know what to expect. It's very simple and straightforward. I talk about it down here. So then I just go, here's my 2022 pricing. And I put this as a caveat because I change my prices every year. So every year I've gone up. And again, I've only been in the game about 2-ish years. But even in my first year from where I was, once I got literally 2 or 3 weddings under my belt, I jumped quite a bit. And then people were still booking. So then that I just kept going. So you're going to have to find what's reasonable for you. Because when I was doing like 8 hours of video for a day, any day, actually, my body, my back is broken. Like, I think people underestimate how hard it is, how taxing it is on the body to do wedding video and photo work. So when I was doing, 8 hours for like $1,500, it just didn't seem worth it for me, to be honest. And at one point I thought I was going to just be like, you know what, I'm just going to start fading out videography. But then I thought, you know what, why don't I just increase my prices to a level where I thought was reasonable for me, that was worth my time, and then see what happens. And then people were still booking. So then I was like, cool. So here and here, but also I know that I am getting to kind of the max that my city will bear. So hopefully that changes as I think wedding videos and just like maybe kind of how things flow here in London. But most photographers, good photographers, around 6 to 8 hours are around the 3K mark. If you're in the 4K mark, you're a little higher. And I've heard maybe 1 or 2 maybe charging more, but I think they might do a lot more weddings outside of London. So you have to do a little research, see what people are charging in your area, and then see what it'll bear. And then you have to be honest with yourself. Like, I couldn't charge what I charge now because I was just starting, right? But now I'm confident in what I can deliver, and I found my not my niche, but my style. So my style is very much sort of this home video, because I grew up in the 80s, 90s, and I want this home video vibe that kind of takes you, it's like, I want to say logistically, but it goes through, chronologically is the word I was looking for, chronologically through the day, and funny moments as they happen, like a home video would. And so I've got kind of the rough cuts in there, silly moments, but then I also have some cinematic portraits of them and like nice moments, and it does look polished overall. So it's kind of mixing the old and the new, because my dad used to lug around this huge camera, and it's just kind of a memory that's near and dear to my heart. And I still have the old big camera back there. Oh, you can't see it right now. Anyways, finding your style, finding the way you explain what you do, and then from there, your personality and you as a person and your work combined will be what people hire you for, right? Because we're celebrating, we're partying with these people all day. So if you guys don't vibe, then that's okay. It's okay. You say no, it's okay for them. It's just, one of those things. But anyways, so I, just creep my price up to a point where I was like, hey, kept pushing it. And then right now we're settled here, and I think this is good for now. And then we'll see what the market will bear. You kind of push until you get a little bit of like, I don't know if I can do the 8 hours, I can do the 6, like where people start to contemplate the pricing a little bit. But for me, also, video is new. I think photography is a staple, but video is a new thing for people, but they are getting it. People are investing in it. So it's nice to see. So I'm excited to see where this goes. So sorry for the long-winded spiel there. I wanted to give that kind of background to other people watching. But it's, so I just made it, I used to have where it was like 4, 6, 8, 10, this is what you get in each package. And it was like, it just was a lot. And I was like, I'm going to test this out, because I feel like that was maybe too much, but I still like to be transparent. So nice and easy, 6 hours, I can, 8 hours, nice and simple. And I do 3 versions, basically. I can do video and photo for you, where there's 2 shooters, me and a second shooter. There's video only, just myself, or there's photo only, just myself, in 2 hours. And from there, that gives people, I think, enough foundation to go, hey, do I like this work? Do I not? Can I afford this? Can I not? And then from there, underneath here, I just, hopefully they read this, but just to give them a little quick synopsis, they get 2 versions of the video, feature and extended version. I don't cap any photos, and then there are other add-ons. So they can reach out to get in touch about that. Basically, add-ons being if they want an engagement shoot, if they want raw footage of the ceremony speeches and that kind of thing. So I think this gives them enough information to say, is this doable for me? And then cool, let me reach out and we'll talk more of the details. Whereas I think if you're too vague, I don't want to get caught. Someone's like, they say, oh, starting at $1,500, but then by the time you get 8 hours or whatever, they're over $3-4 grand. And like, in my mind, I already price anchored around the 15. So there's a bit of that psychology in there. If you're going to anchor anything, you want to anchor high and then go low instead of saying, oh, I can really do it this price. And then next thing you know, the add-ons or the hour add-ons, and then you're like double the price. And the person's like, oh, that's not what I thought was going to happen. So yeah, anyways, I just wanted to put it out there. That's kind of my perspective on it. Other people just do a range because it gives them, more conversational and more leeway in what they can quote somebody, and that's totally fine. So to each their own. But yeah, just wanted to put that out there. And then from there, starting at 2, yeah. Oh, the other thing too, I guess maybe that's what it is. Not only this text is kind of that a little harder to read, it's also all caps lock. So you don't want all capitals. That's also harder to read. So for your body text, definitely, yeah, that's why I choose something else. So that way it reads naturally, right? And sorry, just a quick thing here too. As you go through and as you rejig the site, there's also a visual hierarchy they should be maintaining. So again, if we're just looking at like my site here, hopefully, minus this thing in the background, this video, this text is the prominent stuff here. It's the biggest one here. Your title, that could probably even be a little smaller, and my menu is smaller. So it's not competing with what I'm trying to say on the page. And then as you go down, same thing, the title's a little bit bigger than the body, text, and so on and so forth. So it's your eye is drawn to what it should be, right? Versus here, I see this and I read this, but then my eye goes back up to here for a brief second, or keeps jumping back up because this just takes up so much real estate, or it's much larger than it needs to be. Hope that makes sense. So whatever elements you're adding to a page or a site, just make sure that it flows well. And like, if you notice, my eye goes over here where it shouldn't be, I want them to be focusing on reading the information, then, make that clear, break up the text, make it bigger, make it more legible. Yeah. And then I'm not sure what happened here, but you've got this center aligned, and then these look a little right justified, or I think you have a whole column here. So if you have a whole column here, I would remove that, and that way you keep everything centered, so it's just nice and symmetrical. And yeah, so let's see. Oh, that's it. So you're getting married. So then I would make, again, you need one main header for if you're encompassing all your pricing, then you would do, photography pricing 2022. And then this should be part of this. And it should be wedding pricing, not you're getting married. And that way it's very easy for me to see, sorry, eyes are starting to burn looking at these screens all day. But it should be, just wedding there, and then into engagements, into I don't know. Oh, maternity, and then seniors. So keep the same naming convention too, so that you're not going, engagement, and then what is willow, what is olive. I understand what you're doing there. You're trying to give a name to a package, but keep it consistent. So just keep it individual, seniors, maternity, homecoming, that kind of thing. And then another thing too is maybe shortening it. So looking at what you do and what do you enjoy the most. If you want weddings to be your primary, then do weddings, and then really probably just maybe births, newborns. That all flows in the circle of life that you're in there, right? Because once they get married, they'll have babies, etc., etc. So that makes sense. And then that just cleans it up. It's not confusing your offering. And then once in a while, if people reach out for these things, then do them. But as far as like an offering or, this menu, just pare down the menu, make it really nice and easy to understand. That's my take anyways. And the other thing you can do too is, information, good. Just to make it more cohesive in my mind, you've got this kind of border thing happening. And if you like it, that's fine. I personally just like the whole background to be one color or to be one image or to span. I just find it's a little cleaner, and you can do sections, right? But everything spans to the edges versus having an inlay here. So that's just something I noticed on your pages and your home pages. Yeah. So I would just stick with that, and that way, I don't know. So there's something about it to me. I like having it all flush. It just takes away any distractions. Okay. Blog is good to have, and yeah, I mean, same thing. All you need to do here is just, keep giving tips if you want, or again, move a lot of these portraits you have into there so that you can like actually talk about it in a long form, talk about the couple, talk about their story if it's interesting, what you did. And then even that can be your examples of like, hey, if you want to do downtown shoot, here's some things to consider. Or if we're doing a home shoot, hey, like, here's some things to consider. Because I know home shoots can be difficult, whether you want to do natural light or flash, but like if they don't have big windows, time of day, those type of considerations are always good content pieces. So all you're trying to do across your site, like I said before, is just quickly, if I scan it, do I understand who you are? Do I understand what you do? Are you in my price range? Do you look like a fun and trustworthy person? And let's reach out, right? Your blog, same thing. It's like areas for you to, it is an area or a journal for you to demonstrate your knowledge, your expertise, and the more helpful you can be too. Again, I say these things, I need to rejig my own blog and stuff. But yeah, I think this kind of part of, and a good example of my YouTube content that I want to create more of, again, really neglected that channel. But I just want to put more content out there to help people, because even as I start to grow, I'd love to get myself into maybe more mentorships and just like help people out. Like what I'm doing What I'm doing for you right now actually is something as a service that I do charge. But it's like, I don't know, it's December, it's whatever. I just want to like help out and, doing a couple workshops in the last month. It's just fun to connect with new people and just help others. So, this will just help out as much as I can. And then at some point, I'll monetize it, or maybe I'll bundle this up into something or whatever. But I think it's always thinking of that too. Whatever, wherever you go with this, whether it be into more couple shoots or wedding photography or wherever it may go, it's like always think of other channels too. So as I'm doing this, I do the photography. The next channel was the video. That's kind of taking over. And then from there, I'm thinking digital assets, starting to create a shop where I'm starting to sell some of the digital assets here. Like, just like there's a free presets here. I got to make more of this stuff, but I got to pack up the tools and some of the things and kind of the information that I use that I could have used obviously when I was starting to help people out. So, maybe that could be another revenue generator. I don't know yet. Maybe booking mentorships. I don't know yet. So no matter what you're doing, like hopefully this is helpful in sprucing up your site and getting the ball rolling, but always be flexible and open to feedback, you know what I mean? And what people are asking for, because maybe you didn't think of that type of photography or that type of project, but then when someone asks you to do it, maybe that could be a very lucrative thing down the road. Like, who knows? But I think obviously people always argue that, you gotta find niche, you gotta find your niche, and totally. But I think when you're starting out and you don't really have a niche or you don't really have a brand out there, it's totally okay to do Fruic. It's totally okay to just try whatever you want to try. And then as it starts to roll, then you start narrowing down. Then you can go, okay, you know what? Didn't really like, newborn shoots. Really love weddings. Maybe vice versa. Whatever it is. And then you start pushing that and then being known for that. And to that same idea, be known for one thing, or be known for like kind of a thing or an area, I guess, locally first. So be a local hero for this thing first, and then from there, if you want to, expand, travel, otherwise, then you can. But just try to think locally first, and it won't be so daunting. And it's easier too, because you can network, you can do workshops, you can go, just go meet people and just like network, like get to partner up with other people that are either wedding photographers, wedding videographers, wedding planners, coordinators, that kind of stuff. And so through that, and if they like you and they like your work, which I don't think they have any issues here, then they'll just pass on, your work or your name when someone else is asking for it, right? So that's kind of part of the game. It doesn't have to be too difficult. It's just really soft sales, which can be genuine. It should be genuine, and just helping each other out. And that's how you grow your brand, right? Trying to think, is there anything else? So I know that was a lot, but hopefully, you have the video now, so you can just replay it and just kind of, just go through it. Just make sure that your H1s are there, the copy is there, and the keywords are in there, so you can tell Google what you are, and where you're located. And so that when people in your area are searching for wedding couples or engagement couples, etc., or newborns, whatever, right? They're going to be finding your stuff. So good luck. And if there's any questions, just DM me on Instagram. And to anyone maybe watching this on YouTube, same thing. Just leave a comment. I'll definitely try to help out as much as I can, and we'll go from there. Okay, guys. See ya.